Let's have a look in this video how we work with dummy variables when we have more than two categories. And suppose that now we have three categories of education. Recall from the previous video we compared bachelor degree with master degree, what's the effect on the wage. But now let's suppose we have a third level, which is the PhD level. So when we have three categories, as in this example, we must have one reference category and two dummy variables in the model. So let's write that down. Over here we have three categories. And we have bachelor, we have master, we have PhD. Now we will have one reference category, which we will explain in a second why we have one reference category. We will have one reference category, and we have two dummy variables in the regression. When we have one reference category, that is the category that we do not include in the regression line. So over here we can see that we included the master level, the PhD level, which means we excluded from the regression the bachelor degree. So bachelor is our reference category. Now because the bachelor is not exclusively shown in the regression, the effect of the bachelor degree on the wage is included in the constant. And if we have a look over here, this is how it would work out. If we have a bachelor degree, by definition, that means that we do not have a master degree and we do not have a PhD. So the effect of the value of the master in the regression is 0. The value of the PhD is 0, meaning these effects cancel out. So for a given level of IQ, the constant is gonna show us the effect of having a bachelor degree on our wage. Hope this makes sense. Now let's work with the other two cases. How do we interpret the dummy variables? Well, the dummy variables are gonna have the same interpretation as before. A partial effect compared to the reference category. So this is the partial effect of having a master degree compared to having only a bachelor degree. And let's write it in a sentence so that it makes more sense. So it's gonna be very similar to what we had before. Let's write it over here. Having a master degree increases wage by 1.31 times $1,000 per year on average compared to having only a bachelor degree. So having master degree increases wages by 1.31 times $1,000 a year, because we measure it in thousands of dollars per year. Remember, this happens on average, compared to the reference category, compared to the bachelor degree, compared to having only bachelor degree, And to be even more specific, we're gonna add the words keeping all else equal, keeping all other variables equal, and in our case the other variable is the IQ. So for a given level of IQ, keeping IQ constant, increasing the education level from bachelor to master is gonna increase the wages on average by 1.31 times $1,000 per year, which, by the way, to make it more practical, that would be 1,310 or more. Well, yeah, $1,310 additional per year in income, in wage, if we get a master instead of stopping only at the bachelor, at least in this example. Now, how would we interpret the PhD? It would be very similar. We would interpret the PhD by looking at the partial effect of having a PhD compared to the reference category of bachelor. And please keep this in mind, we're not comparing now with the master, we're not comparing to the other dummy, we're still comparing to the reference category. So having a PhD, let's write it here real quick in a short format. Having a PhD increases wages by 1.74 times $1,000 on average, again on average, compared to bachelor degree, compared to having only a bachelor degree, keeping IQ constant, so this is the most explicit conclusion we can give. So having PhD would increase wages even higher than having a master degree. It would increase it by $1,740 per year on average compared to having a bachelor for a given level of IQ, or keeping IQ constant. It's always wise to understand, not only to understand, but to be comfortable with different notations. Keeping IQ constant for a given level of IQ, all else equal, is the same thing. So in different questions, you're gonna have it in different ways. Make sure you understand that it is the same thing. And that would be it with the categorical variables with more than 2 categories. In the next video, we're gonna see how we can actually test to see if these variables are actually significant or not.